when the Chinese transgression took place in East Ladakh, we used these drones for surveillance capabilities, and the images that came out were absolutely fantastic. The drones that now we are buying are not only having the surveillance capability but are also armed. These are not Sky Guardian drones per se, these are Predator drones. The deal is worth about $3.99 billion, which is approximately 32,000 crores. So it is a huge deal. Why are these drones important? Because the Chinese have already an armed drone which is called Winglong 1, Winglong 2. The Chinese have supplied and are planning to supply some 50 odd armed drones to Pakistan. So this drone is actually the next level of capability, and that is why India required something to match. The deal is not only aimed at purely at the sea domain, it will have huge repercussions on the LAC with China as well as on the LOC with Pakistan. In 2016, the US used this drone to take out the second supreme leader of Taliban, Akhtar Mansoor, in Baluchistan using the Hellfire missile. The same US drone was used to take out Qasem Soleimani of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard.
When Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to Washington 7 months ago, he expressed an interest, or rather, he announced that India will be buying the US Predator MQ-9B armed drones. Now, the first big hurdle to that mega deal has been crossed. The US State Department has approved the request of this sale by the United States to India. I have with me Shishir Gupta. He's the executive editor for Hindustan Times. Shishir, what does this deal mean for India?
Namaskar. Aditi, the deal is worth about $3.99 billion, which is approximately 32,000 crores. So it is a huge deal which the US State Department has notified on January 31st. What is now happening is that the letter of acceptance has been the draft letter of acceptance has been put before the Congress now. This will remain in the Congress for 30 days, after which the final letter of acceptance will be sent to India. Now, when a foreign military sales with US takes place, which is from government to government, without involvement of any middlemen, what happens is that the Indian government sends a letter of request saying that I need X amount of platforms from the US on G2G basis. Now, this letter of request is examined, and then the US in this case will respond with a letter of acceptance. Once that happens, then the deal will be sort of crystallized, and since there are no negotiations in this deal, because being government to government, the the deliveries will start as per the schedule. Now, this deal is very important and very critical to Indian national security. The Predator MQ-9B drone, it's a highly capable, high altitude, long endurance drone. It can actually touch a ceiling of 50,000 feet, operate at 27,000 feet, and is equipped with the state of the art missiles as well as surveillance suites. So it will not only enhance the capability of Indian Navy, it will add more teeth to the Indian Army, and it will give a better battlefield transparency to the Indian Air Force. It is not The deal is not only aimed at purely at the sea domain. It will have huge repercussions on the LAC with China as well as on the LOC with Pakistan.
I'm saying without giving away any of the details of how exactly we are going to be deploying these drones against China. If you could tell us how, in specifics, how at the LAC are these drones going to be utilized?
You see, these drones have a multiple capability. The first is that it will give you a clear cut uh, transparency of the entire battlefield across the LAC, which means essentially you will know what the Chinese capabilities are across the LAC. That includes, aircrafts, that includes bunkers, that includes rocket systems, that includes missile systems. It will also not only give you a capability, but it will also act as a deterrent to in case there is any movement, any uh, say, let's say, aggressive movement from the PLA towards the Indian side. Third thing is it has the capability to take on any significant platform at whatever height or on the ground to give a challenge to whatever the Chinese or the Pakistanis can come up with.
In fact, that's very interesting, sir, because you have pointed out that they'll give us these capabilities, but we've already tried and tested the capabilities of these Sea Guardian drones, of these Predator drones at the LAC. Because I was reading an article of yours, and you pointed out how we had leased these drones from the US earlier, and they gave us significant insight into the Chinese troops' capabilities.
You see, currently we have two Sky Guardian drones on lease from General Atomics, and these are based at INS Rajali in Tamil Nadu. Now, when the Chinese transgression took place in East Ladakh, we used these drones for surveillance capabilities, and the images that came out were absolutely fantastic. But the drones that now we are buying are not only having the surveillance capability but are also armed. These are not Sky Guardian drones per se, these are Predator drones. And MQ-9B is armed with at least 4 Hellfire missiles, which have a range of 11 kilometers, and at least two laser guided bombs, which have a range of 150 kilometers using the glide vehicle. Now, now let me tell you something very important. Why are these drones important? Because the Chinese have already an armed drone which is called Winglong 1, Winglong 2. The Chinese have supplied and are planning to supply some 50 odd armed drones to Pakistan. So this drone is actually the next level of capability, and that is why India required something to match what the Chinese or the Pakistanis can throw us at.
China and Pakistan, how do these drones compare with what, let's say, a China has or a Pakistan has?
The Predator drone is a proven platform. The US has used this platform in Afghan war, in Iraq war. It has used for targeted missions. It has used for targeted killings. Let me give you an example. In 2016, the US used this drone to take out the second supreme leader of Taliban, Akhtar Mansour, in Baluchistan using the Hellfire missile. The same US drone was used to take out Qasim Soleimani of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. It's a highly capable system which has a proven worth of 20 years. The Chinese weapon system is still to be seen, what to talk of being proven.
All right, that's at the LAC, but let's also talk about the sea. Uh, Given whatever is happening, especially with regard to the uncertainties over trade routes after the sea trade routes after the Houthis attacks in Red Sea and the consistent madness going on there, these drones, what purpose are they going to serve for the Indian Navy? At the seas.
Let me digress from this a little bit just to make you understand. Currently, a Chinese surveillance ship called Xiang Yang Hong 3 is southwest of Sri Lanka and proceeding towards Malé. The ship is supposed to dock at Malé on February 8th, though the message that was given was that it would dock on February 5th. Now, with with the capability of these drones, we'll be able to actually launch reconnaissance mission on these Chinese ships, the Chinese spy ships, which normally switch off their transponders to operate in the dark. One is this. Second thing is to protect the sea lanes of communication, which virtually from Red Sea to Malacca Straits carry nearly $1 trillion worth of trade. You need systems which can deter not only uh, asymmetric forces like the Houthis or the Qaeda Hezbollah or any force operating within Pakistan to ensure that they do not attack commercial shipping. Third thing, they will also these drones can actually go all the way up to Gulf of Aden and on the eastern side go all the way up to Lombok Strait, which is way beyond Malaysia and towards the end of Indonesia. So you will have a clear cut view as to what the maritime domain is, who's operating in the region, where are the pirates, where are the drug runners, where are the arms smugglers. So you will have a very clear picture as to where the enemy is. And that is why these drones become very important. Now, if you have a Sky Guardian, you can actually do a surveillance mission and come back and tell the surface combatant to go and intercept. But in this case, you can straight away launch an attack in case the adversary is challenging you.
Clearly a very critical piece of military equipment that's going to come into India then, given the fact that it helps us at the borders as well as at the sea, especially with the amount of enemies close and beyond that we have. But having said that, when are these drones likely to actually land up in India? Because there was this whole conversation about the deal only not going through. Because the US, because of the Pannun issue, and that the US had started viewing India with a lot of suspicion after the Pannun row. But clearly that has not happened.
See, Aditi, arms deals are very complex arrangements. In this, there are multiple players. There are players within players. There are lobbyists. There are arms dealers. There are competitors. There are political parties. There is media, and there are a bunch of other intelligence agencies and what have you. So the point is, this deal should go through once the US sends the letter of acceptance, and then there is a charted roadmap towards when the acquisition will take place. But definitely in the next 5 years, you will see the uh, the drones landing in India. Why next 5 years? Maybe another 2 years or 3 years down the line, you will see the drones landing in India. Now, as let me also tell you something very important. The US actually told the Indian National Security Advisor on January 31st, 2024, that the deal had cleared the four subcommittees of the Congress and hence would be notified. Now, this is exactly 1 year after India and US National Security Advisor set up to have a ISET group, or what is called the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies. So 1 year later, you have something in hand in the sense the deal has been notified. Once the letter of acceptance is sent, you will see the roadmap unfolding and the platform should land very shortly. Now, as far as this
Fantastic.
Pannu thing goes, this Pannu thing had nothing to do with the deal. We have made it very clear to the Americans that we will go fully support the investigation in the Pannu case. But Pannu case has nothing to do with the deal. It's just one side show that is happening, and that's a legal process. So One, somebody who's been accused of trying to assassinate Pannu, he has to face the law first. Then somebody who has been identified as an Indian who actually hashed the conspiracy, he has not been identified. There has to be a charge sheet that has to be filed on that person. Then the extradition process has to take place. It's a huge show on that, but it's a side show. India US relationship is absolutely very close to each other. Both the sides talk to each other on everything, whether they agree or disagree on anything. So to say that this deal was being scuttled on Pannu issue is absolutely hogwash.
The when 7 months ago the prime minister went to Washington, apart from this deal, he also the drones deal, he also spoke and announced the deal for engines with GE. Even that apparently, not apparently, that has also gone through and is running the hoops of the regulatory clearances right now. But having said that, where does this take India US relationship, where the strategic partnership, these two very important deals, how will they take forward this strategic partnership that India is now developing with the United States?
Let me clarify to you first. The US G414 deal has cleared all congressional clearances. It has been cleared by the Congress. It's currently under negotiation between the US General Electric Company, the maker of the engine, and HAL, to which it will 100% transfer of technology of the engine will take place. This engine will power the Tejas Mark II. So first of all, there are no hurdles as far as G414 goes. Currently, the negotiations are on. And the National Security Advisor, the External Affairs Minister, and everybody is in the loop on the deal, as well as their US counterparts too. Now, once the US G414 deal takes place and translates on the ground, and you have the drone platforms reaching India, this will definitely add a huge impetus to the India US relationship, which already is very good. India, with its own strategic autonomy, believes in taking the best which is in its national interest. And these two things are definitely in its national interest because these are long term visions. These are not for 5 years, 6 years, these are for 20, 30, 50 years. So the two sides are already together. And even if the government changes next year in US or it changes in India, it doesn't look like to be so, but even if it changes in India, these two deals will definitely happen, and India and US will converge with each other and grow with each other.
Right. Thank you so much. India, huge convergences, and India US growing with each other. That's the message that's coming out from Shishir Gupta there. But thank you for sharing all that information with us and our viewers. Thank you, viewers, for watching this broadcast. We'll meet you again in the next episode of Hindustan Times Point Blank.